ये जो किताब है जिसको हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहते हैं, ये आपकी आवाज है। ये आदिवासियों की, दलितों की, पिछड़ों की, गरीबों की आवाज है और बीजेपी इस आवाज को चुप करना चाहते हैं।
आजकल कांग्रेस और इंडी गठबंधन के लोग एक नई अफवाह उड़ा रहे हैं। ये कहते हैं कि मोदी को 400 सीटें मिल गई तो वो संविधान बदल देगा। ऐसा झूठ चलाते हैं ना।
As Lok Sabha elections 2024 reach the midpoint, the narrative is set. The opposition's India bloc has used Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 400 Par call as an attempt by BJP to change the constitution of India and do away with reservation for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. The BJP has dismissed it as another lie being spread by the opposition. It has now become the main narrative of the election. This is the Economic Times Special Elections Podcast, Polls on My Pod. In this episode, we will talk about how the reservations debate started. Is it a talking point among voters? What are the real issues on the reserved seats? And we bring you an interesting story from the heart of what was once a Naxal-infested territory. It is Wednesday, the 15th of May. From the Economic Times, I'm your host Nidhi Sharma and you're listening to the Morning Brief. In the run-up to elections, the India bloc started with a complicated message. BJP government at the centre is trying to undermine constitutional offices and misusing investigative agencies to target the opposition leaders. To reach the masses, it had to simplify the message. It was the BJP's own candidates who helped the opposition. In March, in one of his speeches, BJP's Uttara Kannada MP Anant Hegde said a decisive mandate could help the BJP government in changing the constitution. Later, BJP's Nagaur candidate Jyoti Mirdha said, though the party had a majority in Lok Sabha, it did not have the numbers needed in Rajya Sabha. The opposition jumped at these remarks and said that BJP would end reservation under the constitution. And why are we talking about this narrative? Out of the 543 total parliamentary constituencies, 412 are general seats, 84 are reserved for scheduled castes, and 47 are reserved for scheduled tribes. So in all, a huge chunk of 131 seats have a majority of SC and ST population. The remaining 412 seats may not be reserved but do have voters belonging to the scheduled tribes and scheduled caste communities. When we traveled through different states to cover elections in the first 4 phases, we found that this narrative was clearly dominating. In Rajasthan, for instance, the state Congress chief Govind Singh Dotasra went a step further and said if BJP were to get the 400 Par number, it may just do away with elections in 2029. It may sound outlandish, but it is a simple message that actually hit home in the villages. At the grassroots, there are more basic issues that are troubling the people. In Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand tribal villages, we found that the central schemes have not reached effectively. In Jharkhand's Bandgaon village, about 150 kilometers from the state capital of Ranchi, water tank under Jal Jeevan Mission had been installed, but several homes had not got connections. But the biggest issue remains the tussle between development and environment.
गदा लेके जब गरजे तो जंगल के शेर भालू मन के भागो रे।
We travelled through Korba, Sarguja, Raigad in Chhattisgarh, Sundargarh in Odisha, and entered Jharkhand through the lush green Saranda forest. This is India's largest coal-producing belt. As more coal blocks are being mined, it is driving out wild elephants from their natural habitat and taking them closer to villages. Every day, tribals go inside jungles to collect minor forest produce, their primary source of income, and take the risk of facing wild elephants. Sometimes these elephants are drawn to the villages by the sweet-smelling mahua, which is collected by the tribals. And here what happens. We bring you voices from the Katkhoda block in Chhattisgarh's Korba district. अच्छा, तो ये हाथी कब से हैं यहाँ?
यहाँ करीबन 7 साल हो रहा है।
उससे पहले
नहीं था।
और अभी कितने हाथी हो गए?
अभी 50-60 से कम नहीं है, ऊपर ही होंगे हैं।
शुरू में कितने थे?
शुरू आया तो उस समय 9 हाथी था। 9 हाथी
अब बढ़ गए हैं?
अब बढ़ गए हैं।
तो हाथी यहाँ पे गांव की तरफ आते हैं?
हाँ आते हैं। हाँ, समय समय में।
अच्छा।
हाँ।
तो क्या करते हैं और किस लिए आते हैं वैसे हाथी? आप लोगों के घर वर क्या खराब होते हैं?
अरे जोंडरी हो गया, भुट्टा बुनते हैं उस समय आते हैं, है ना।
क्या समय रहता है? कौन से महीने में ज़्यादा होता है?
कुंवार महीने।
तो आप महुआ भी तो बिनते हैं, तो उससे क्या ज़्यादा खतरा रहता है?
हम महुआ बिनाई में ज़्यादा खतरा रहता है उस समय। का है आप यहाँ घर से तो 5 बजे निकल जाते हैं, है ना। जान कर रहता है तो लोगों को सतर्क कर देते हैं कि देखना हाथी है कहकर, और जान कर नहीं रहता है तो मुठभेड़ हो जाता है सामने।
और फॉरेस्ट वाले हैं वो आपको कुछ बताते हैं कि कैसे ये हाथी अगर सामने आए या गांव की तरफ आए तो आप लोगों को क्या करना चाहिए?
और तो वही ग्रुप में डाल दिए हैं, है ना। उनको यही सलाह देते हैं कि हाथी अगर सामने हो जाएगा तो अपना जान बचा कर रखना, है ना। और
हाथी अगर गांव की तरफ अगर आते हैं तो?
वही हाथी आते हैं तो वही कहते हैं घर तरफ घुस जाएगा तो घर छोड़ कर भाग जाना।
आप घर छोड़ के भागते हैं?
स्कूल की तरफ चले।
Villagers here complain that elephants regularly destroy their crops, but compensation from the government takes a very long time to come. Ratan Singh of Lad village tells us how the number of elephants has increased due to coal mining. श्री रतन जी, आपके यहाँ पे आसपास के गांवों में, आपके गांवों में ये हाथी घुसते हैं क्या?
अभी नहीं, वो उस खेती बाड़ी के समय में जो है हाँ यहाँ आते हैं। अभी कोयलार गटरा तरफ है।
तो ये क्यों घुसते क्यों हैं? अभी यहाँ पे बढ़ क्यों गया है हाथी?
यहाँ जो है वो लोग अपना पेट के चलते आ जाते हैं। जैसे मक्का है और धान है, ये सब नुकसान करते हैं, खाते हैं, नुकसान करके चल देते हैं।
तो ये अभी क्यों बढ़ा है?
रहने के लिए इनके जगह नहीं है, तो अभी जहाँ जहाँ पानी का जहाँ व्यवस्था है ना, वहाँ जाके रुकते हैं लोग, और रात में जो है थोड़ा विचरण करते हैं इधर उधर। कभी कभी आने जाने वालों को भी परेशान करते हैं, मार भी देते हैं।
ये कोल ब्लॉक माइनिंग जो होती है, इनका क्या मूलतः जो इनका था रहने की जगह, वहाँ पे क्या ये कोल ब्लॉक में आने के कारण इनका इस तरफ हो गया है पलायन?
नहीं, इधर कोल माइन तो यहाँ है, पहले नहीं थे। अभी समझिए 3-4 साल हुआ है इधर इनको आए, बाकी जो पहले नहीं आए थे। ये पता नहीं, पहले उधर कोरबा उरबा तरफ रहते रहे, काहे कि उधर जंगल उंगल ज़्यादा रहा, और इधर जंगल उंगल अब कट गया है, नहीं रहते। जहाँ जहाँ जंगल है, पानी की व्यवस्था है, वहाँ रुकते हैं।
The tribals have been protesting in this belt against rampant coal mining. In an interview to me, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Vishnu Deo Sai said that there is a delicate balance between development and environment.
वास्तव में देखिए, अगर विकास करना है तो कुछ तो पेड़ भी काटने पड़ेंगे जी। जैसे हाईवे बना रहे हैं, पहले छोटे रोड थे, अब उसको हाईवे बना रहे हैं तो 2 लेन 4 लेन 6 लेन हो रहा है, और पहले से वहां पर पेड़ लगे हैं, तो आखिर उसको काटेंगे नहीं तो आपका 4 लेन कहाँ से बनेगा। तो उसी तरह से अगर हम रोजगार चाहते हैं, कोई इंडस्ट्रीज खड़ा करना चाहते हैं, तो कुछ न कुछ तो अपने को मतलब वो करना ही पड़ेगा। और आदिवासियों को क्या है, उनको मुआवजा मिलता है, सब मिलता है, लेकिन दूसरे लोग भड़काते हैं उनको सामने रख के अपना स्वार्थ सिद्ध करते हैं।
तो इनके जो डर है उसको कैसे आप मतलब एड्रेस
कहीं
करेंगे?
कोई डर नहीं,
डर
कहीं
नहीं,
कोई डर नहीं।
हाथियों का एक
देखिए हाथी वाला प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन जब शुरुआती दौर में ज्यादा जनहानि होता था।
अच्छा,
हाँ, क्या है कि उस समय सीधे लोग एक तरह से उनको भगाते थे, उनको कहीं तीर चला देते थे, कहीं कुछ करते थे, तो भी आक्रोशित होके लोगों के ऊपर अटैक भी करते थे। लेकिन लगातार शासन प्रशासन के द्वारा उपाय किए गए कि भाई अब ये तो रहेंगे ही, अब इनके साथ मित्रता से रास्ता निकाल के रहना पड़ेगा। तो ये सब जब अवेयरनेस कुछ आया समाज में, तो आज देखते हैं जनहानि कम होता है। जहाँ एकदम से मुठभेड़ हो गया, कोई आमने सामने हो गए, वहीं मतलब जनहानि हो रही है। बाकी अब थोड़ा सा लोग भी उस माहौल में अपने को ढाल रहे हैं, और इसके लिए शासन से लेमरू प्रोजेक्ट वगैरह ये सब हुआ। एक बार वो बादल खोल भी हुआ था अपना जसपुर में, लेकिन वो भी चूंकि बादल खोल एक जंगल है, उसको फेंसिंग वेंसिंग करके ये सब किए, लेकिन हाथी भी इतने होशियार कि वो पेड़ क्या बोलते हैं तोड़ के उसको मार देते थे। वो करंट उसमें रहता था वो वायर में, लेकिन उसको तोड़ देते थे हाथी। उनसे काम भी लेते हैं, डिपो वगैरह में आदमी से ज्यादा काम भी करते हैं हाथी। तो ऐसा भी कोई रास्ता निकालना पड़ेगा। अभी 3 महीने हमारी सरकार को हुए हैं, तो देखेंगे, उसमें स्टडी करेंगे क्या अच्छा से अच्छा हो सकता है। कहे कि अब इतना बड़ा प्राणी है हाथी कि उसको ना कांजी हाउस में डाल सकते हैं ना उनको मार भी नहीं सकते, तो कोई ना कोई रास्ता तो निकालना पड़ेगा। लोगों को सामने करके अपना स्वार्थ पे लोग साधते हैं। आदिवासी तो बेचारे खाली मुखौटा बन जाते हैं, बाकी तो उसके पीछे दूसरे लोग रहते हैं।
Even as the political parties spar over reservation, Jal, Jungle, Zameen issues crowd the mind of people in villages affecting their voting preferences. Tribals have been considered a dedicated vote bank of the Congress, but BJP has successfully weaned them away over the last 5 years. Once again, there are some rumblings amongst tribals, but how much we don't know yet. And are they voting? You'd be surprised to know this. We have such an interesting story from the once Naxal affected area called Budha Pahad in Jharkhand. It falls under the Palamau parliamentary constituency, which voted on May 13, just 2 days back. The mountain, which is about 150 kilometers from Ranchi, is surrounded by dense forests and is spread across Latehar and Garhwa districts. It was home to Naxals, but between April and September 2022, the area was declared Naxal free after targeted operations were carried out. This is the first time that voters of 11 villages voted inside the schools of their villages. The polling booths used to be shifted outside about 20 to 25 kilometers away from the villages. This clearly affected the voter turnout, as less than 50% of the people actually turned up to vote. But this time was a different story. We speak to Jharkhand Chief Electoral Officer Mr. K. Ravi Kumar, who tells us how the voters turned out in big numbers. There have been areas which were Maoist infested earlier, and this is, I believe, the first time that they have voted in Palamau constituency inside their villages. Could you tell us something about this?
It's basically the Pudapahad area. That was the place in the recent history. There was no poll in that places. Even in that area, I worked as a sub-divisional magistrate in 2006 to 8. So that time it was very difficult place. We can't think of going to that places. Now these places are safe. Now the voting is also completed. The polling party, the EVMs are came back to the receipt center.
So, how many such booths were there, and how many people are registered under those booths?
It's a 4 booth in that Pudapad area. It is a densely populated area and also a sparsely populated area. So there we had 2,476 voters in that booth, and almost all the places that polling was very, very peaceful.
So what preparations were required? Did you visit the area right before elections, sir?
Something around after the announcement of election, I went there. Something around 20 days back, I went there. I met the people also there, and I had a meeting with the booth awareness group and with the BLOs also. And we are now it is safe to travel to these places, and people are also very happy. Actually, the first time without fear they were casted their vote. We have to transport the voters from the villages to the main road area. They faced a lot of hardship during that period. So now we are having the booth in their own village, and they are able to cast their vote with ease and without fear.
Sir, did you conduct any exercises inside the villages to increase this voter turnout? Because I believe the voter turnout was about 45% in 2019 and even lower in the assembly elections a few months in later.
Yeah, there are 2 type of activities. One is the security measures, that is basically done by the CAPF and the local police. They will provide the security people. But otherwise, there are other measures like the enrollment of the voters and also the booth awareness activities to one-to-one contact with the people and providing the voter ID card, and also have the regular meeting about the ethical voting and other aspects of electoral process. And we had the Chunav Pathsala, the electoral literacy club. It is in the villages. We conduct interact with them, and also we explain to them about the voters and the voting process.
So, polling parties use choppers to reach, because you had earlier mentioned that the terrain is very difficult.
So for the booths, we airlifted the polling party from Palamu, and we dropped at the Hisatu. There is we are having a helipad there, and the other security personnel, so they went by road.
So there are still some landmines that are still active there, and do they have to conduct the road opening parties and clean, basically make the area safe for the polling parties, sir? Does that protocol still hold?
Yeah, the land mining, especially the pressure mines, are in the interior places. Actually, basically the booth nearby areas, we already demined that activity. That activity is already completed. The road opening party, it is a standard procedure. When we move the forces to any of the places, and we normally have the road opening party, and the long range patrolling also we normally do in that area to make that places safe for the incoming security personnel and the other polling personnel. These are the standard protocol we follow in the LW affected areas, especially the areas which had hardcore Naxal activities in the recent history.
Sir, I believe you had set a target of sorts, an estimate that the turnout in these booths would be about 65% or 66%.
So we're happy with that. The Hisatu booth, it was crossed 71%. But especially because of the lack of economic activities, the migrant issues are one of the major issue there. So otherwise, the turnout will be much better.
So you have an assembly election later this year. Is the target higher for these booths now?
We'll try our level best, and there are multiple factors involved in voter turnout. And as the people are excited, then the people are very happy. So in the coming assembly election in the November, December, they will also turn up in the large number in the booth.
The 4 polling booths surpassed even the state average turnout in this phase. Quite an encouraging one, don't you think? So as I always say, go and get that finger inked. Cast your vote. Hope you enjoyed listening to Polls on My Pod. This is all for today. I'm your host Nidhi Sharma, signing off. This episode was brought to you by sound designer Amrit Reggie and producer Vinayak Agarwal. Executive producers Anirban Chaudhary and Arijit Barman. Thank you for listening, and if you like this episode, do spread the word. All new episodes of the Morning Brief podcast drop every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It streams on Amazon Prime Music, JioSaavn, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and of course, ET's own audio platform, ET Play. Have a great week ahead. All clips used in this episode belong to their respective owners, credits mentioned in the description.